going to start the process and the special celebration of an incredible addition to our echal and to our community for an incredible person. So please give your attention. We're going to have a few words from our sponsors and also our rabbis. We're going to have a few words, and after that, we're going to stitch the final stitches of this Sefer Torah. You see, this is a very special Sefer Torah. It's written on a special type of parchment called Gevil. And this parchment, you can't just write the words at the last minute, which sometimes we're used to at a Sefer Torah dedication. All the words are written because it's so specific and so special, as Sabero was. But we are going to stitch it together in just a few moments after we hear a few words, so please give your attention to the rabbis and family as we share a few words.
Buenas noches. Me sorprendieron hoy en la noche, no esperaba hacer uso de la palabra, pero le agradezco al rabino haberme dado la oportunidad de decirles algo. Bueno, creo que nos encontramos ya vísperas del gran día del año del calendario judío, ¿verdad? De Rosh Hashanah ya está a la vuelta de la esquina, como decimos. Y mi mensaje a lo mejor se va a centrar principalmente en el significado de ese día. Quizás quisiera empezar por analizar el nombre de la festividad, para poder entender de qué se trata. Se llama Rosh Hashanah. Rosh es cabeza, traduciéndolo literalmente, y Hashanah es año. Y yo tengo mi propia traducción. ¿Qué significa que cabeza de año? Significa que hay que ponerle cabeza cuando va a empezar un nuevo año. Significa que hay que reflexionar un poquito, mucho más seriamente, cuando uno empieza un año nuevo es una nueva dimensión, una nueva oportunidad para eventualmente o definitivamente cambiar nuestra vida, mejorar nuestro compromiso como judíos, prometernos a nosotros mismos asumir mayores responsabilidades judías. Más o menos de eso se trata. No se trata, fíjense la gran diferencia que existe entre un año nuevo judío y un año nuevo gentil. El año nuevo gentil es una buena oportunidad para tomar unos cuantos tragos, bailar hasta el amanecer, hacer disparates si acaso. En el pueblo de Israel el año nuevo judío es algo completamente diferente. Es un año que lo resume la palabra Shana. Año en castellano, ¿ustedes saben de dónde viene la raíz? No se molesten, yo tampoco lo sé. Pero Shana en hebreo viene de dos raíces completamente contradictorias y es complejo. Shana viene de la raíz de Mishnah. ¿Cómo se estudiaban los textos en la época en que no habían libros? Se estudiaba a través de una repetición en voz alta del texto. El maestro le hacía repetir al alumno el texto y así el alumno aprendía. Y la palabra Shana viene de Mishnah, que quiere decir repetir. Sin embargo, también viene de la palabra de cambio, de Shinui. Y lo que es repetición no es cambio, es lo contrario. Entonces, ¿cómo complementar estos dos términos para entender en definitiva de qué se trata? Nosotros en Rosh Hashanah hay una sola cosa que le vamos a pedir a Dios: que se repita el ciclo del año, del tiempo en nuestra vida. Sí, queremos parnasá, queremos una serie de cosas, pero lo más principal es que tengamos salud para el año que viene. Queremos que se repita el ciclo del tiempo en nosotros. Eso es desde una óptica humana y está muy acertada. Pero desde una óptica divina, el término Shana podría eventualmente inspirarnos en el término Shinul, cambio. O sea, si es que le vamos a pedir, y así lo vamos a hacer si Dios quiere, que, el ciclo del tiempo se repita en nuestras vidas, yo creo que sería interesante y definitivamente necesario para que tengamos un año más de vida. Pero creo que es más importante de que este nuevo año traiga cambios sustanciales en nuestra vida. Que tratemos de ser mejores judíos, que podamos asumir mejores compromisos, de que no nos estanquemos en nuestra vida judía. Porque cuando uno, le decía hace unos instantes a alguien, cuando uno se para, retrocede. Esto es una vida que requiere una actividad y un crecimiento continuo para poder realizar en definitiva lo que se llama ser un ser humano, y perdonen por la redundancia. Al primer hombre de la historia de la humanidad se le llamó Adán. Adán, las letras en hebreo tienen un valor numérico. El valor numérico de Adán es 45. El valor numérico de una interrogante también es 45, ma. Y por eso nosotros los judíos todas las mañanas cuando rezamos, que no solamente rezamos, que es un error pensar que lo único que hacemos es rezar, también nos autoanalizamos con el ritual de oraciones en la mano. Entonces en ese ritual de oraciones todas las mañanas decimos, ma anu, ¿qué somos? Ma hayenu, ¿qué es nuestra vida? ¿En qué radica nuestro bien? Una serie de interrogantes que se supone que en el transcurso de los días nosotros tenemos que darle respuestas a esas interrogantes. Conocí muy bien a Shabbatai, alaba Shalom. Fue alguien que supo resolver con todas las personas que él conoció y que lo conocieron a él. Tenía una nobleza innata en él. Bueno, y el fruto de esos valores, unidos a esos valores que compartió con su esposa, que también lo ayudó a ser quien fue, lograron crear una familia ejemplar, con una visión diferente a la que tenían antes. Y ese es el reto que tenemos cada uno de nosotros. Seguir siendo el mismo, atenernos a las mismas costumbres. Le voy a decir algo un poquito atrevido. Las mismas letras de minhag, de costumbre, son las letras de infierno. Minhag y Gehinam, Arminán, es lo mismo. O sea, la vida tiene que traer novedades. A la vida hay que saber darle respuestas a inquietudes espirituales. No nos podemos olvidar que somos la generación, los que tenemos hijos, nietos, es la generación de relevo. Yo suelo decir que mucha gente piensa, con esto de la contaminación ambiental, ¿qué mundo le vamos a dejar a nuestros hijos? Hablando en términos judíos, la gran inquietud tendría que ser, ¿qué hijos le vamos a dejar al pueblo de Israel? Esa es la gran interrogante. Y creo que es la interrogante principal que debería acompañarnos con un pensamiento positivo. Termino con lo siguiente. Si un novio debajo de la jupá le pone el anillo a su futura esposa y le dice, Areat mekudeshet li, séme santificada como esposa por medio de ese anillo, conforme a las costumbres y leyes y de Moisés y de Israel, pero añadió algo más, si yo soy un tzadik. Así está planteado en la Gemara en Kiddushin. Pregunta a la Gemara, ¿esta mujer es su mujer o no? A lo mejor es un cortacaminos. Él puso una condición. Entonces, ¿qué es? La Gemara da una respuesta muy interesante. es su esposa porque, dice la Gemara, Shemeh Hireher Teshuvah Belibo. A lo mejor, en ese instante, acompañado de todo ese público que, invitados, experimentó un sentimiento que dijo, bueno, ¿sabes qué? Yo a partir de ahora no voy a seguir siendo el mismo. Voy a constituir un nuevo hogar, quiero cambiar, quiero mejorar. A pesar de que eso a lo mejor le pasó en un segundo y luego ya se olvidó, dice la Gemara, esta mujer es su mujer. Un buen pensamiento también cuenta para Dios. Una buena intención, evidentemente, debe acompañar de la sinceridad. También cuenta para que el día de Rosh Hashanah, con la ayuda de Dios, nos inscriba a todos nosotros y a todo el pueblo de Israel. Y por qué no decirlo, en Rosh Hashanah nosotros los judíos rezamos por la humanidad entera, de que la humanidad no conozca más desgracias, ni situaciones complejas, ni delicadas, queremos lo mejor y rezamos por lo mejor de toda la humanidad. Y eso es un valor singularmente judío. Usted no encontrará en ninguna religión otra que en el judaísmo que recen por otro pueblo, por otra creencia, solo el pueblo de Israel. Quiera Dios de que esta familia que hasta salió, sabe que se honra más a nuestros padres, y lo que voy a decir le va a sonar un poquito atrevido, que introducir un Sefer Torah en el Aron HaKodesh. El Sefer Torah, dicen Jajamim, es letra muerta, una letra en un pergamino. Un judío comprometido con Torah y Mitzvot es una Torah caminando. Y entonces cuando ponemos en perspectiva qué es más importante, la Torah caminando, el judío que se proyecta como un prototipo judío a imitar, eso es un verdadero Sefer Torah. Yo quisiera cada vez que veo a Sami besarlo como un Sefer Torah, porque Sami tiene unos valores. Uno se pregunta de dónde vienen. Pues fíjense bien, vienen de sus antepasados. Y cada uno de nosotros tenemos antepasados que estuvieron bien comprometidos con la vida judía. Quiera Dios que ustedes lo puedan hacer y que puedan ver a sus hijos, a sus nietos, a sus bisnietos crecer en la Torah y en la Mitzvot, y que esta linda familia que supo honrar correctamente a su progenitor, a su papá, siga en el camino de la Torah y las Mitzvot, y que Dios bendiga a toda la congregación.
Just going to add, very short, to the beautiful words of Rabbi Mselem, Bershut, the Rabbi, Rabbi Koskas, Bechavod, please come join us up top, and all the many Rabbanim over here. Tonight is not a memorial service. Tonight is about a continuation of a legacy. This, my friends, here is a physical manifestation of Sabeto's legacy. Let me read you one line from this parasha. Come over here, come over here. It says in the parasha, Ki et asher yeshno po imanu amer hayom b'fnei Hashem Elokeinu ve'et asher einenu po imanu hayom. Moshe Rabbeinu in this week's parasha says, we're going to make a new covenant between God and the Jewish people. And listen to that pasuk. He says, not just with all of us here today, in that day, but all the future generations as well. What do you mean? How can you do that for the future generations? Did we agree to that? Who said we're going to agree to that? So the answer is, my friends, he was speaking to the nation. The nation of Israel is all one. But not just there, generationally. And we take and we give and we pass on to the next generation. Sabedo, and I still feel his presence right there, sitting right there at the door. You couldn't walk in without him giving you a little note that says, don't talk in shul. I said to him, it's not shul, it's kahal, but that's okay, you can still give him out. Or where he would see everybody, encourage in his ways, and stood fast, as it says in this parasha, Nitzavim. he stood. He stood for his principles of Judaism, of Torah, and making sure to educate and to push to the next generation. Tonight, this continues his legacy. To have a Torah dedicated in his memory, in his honor, and his merit is a tremendous zechut. It should be a tremendous zechut for him every time we read from the Sefer, every time we study from the Sefer, and every time we mention the Sefer. It should be a big zechut for him, for his whole mishpacha. As we know, it should be a melit shosher for you in the heavens. There's no doubt he's looking upon this moment with tremendous pride, with his family, his keilah, and his Torah. May he continue from generation to generation, and may we always see tremendous zechut for him and your whole family. Amen. Zak v'matz, please give your attention to the family as they share some words.
My name is Jackie Maya. I'm Isaac's wife. Sabeto was my father-in-law. Everybody good? I became a Maya 9 years ago today. With open arms, Cookie and Sabeto made me feel welcomed into the family. I remember both of them had one strict rule: no returns. I told them, don't worry, I love him too much to give him back. Sabeto was always the guy you wanted to ask for advice, and he would always give you the story, don't ever despair, because it will always come from Hashem. I loved him very much, and losing him has been very hard for me. I always feel like he's going to walk out of his bedroom and make kiddush with us on Saturday lunch. It is so fitting. Sorry. It is so fitting that his memory is being honored tonight with this beautiful Sefer Torah. My hope is that every time it is used, that the words go straight to Shemayim, where I know he is looking down on us. My husband and I want to thank everyone for being here. You meant so much to Sabeto, and you mean a lot to us. His neshama was always here at Temple Moses, and it is still and always will be. Sabeto used to call his grandkids the peanut gallery and his chicaroos. Sorry. They will miss him, but his legacy will live on through them and through us, keeping his memory alive. Now let's all rejoice and celebrate his life through this beautiful Torah.
Before we begin, I want to share an amazing coincidence. My Rav has always taught me that there is no such thing as coincidences. But it just so happens to be, Jackie, you made me cry. It just so happens to be, B'Sed Hashem, that in 2 days from now we're going to be reading for the first time from this Sefer Torah, and the Lulishma, my father, and we're going to be reading Parashat Nitzavim. And it just so happens to be that in 2 years from now, exactly 2 years from now, it's going to be a boy's bar mitzvah. And that boy happens to be my father's grandson. B'Ezrat Hashem, so that's a clear invitation to all of you. 2 years from now, mark the date. The idea to bring a Sefer Torah came to me, and truthfully I don't even remember how it came to me. But at first I thought it was going to be impossible. And besides all that, bring a Sefer Torah from Eretz Yisrael during this our pandemic days was going to be very, very difficult. But we went through with it, and the Sefer Torah that we would read in Temple Moses, out of all places, where my father worked so hard and he was a pillar of the community. The Gemara teaches us that Yaakov Avinu lo met. Yaakov Avinu never died. The Gemara explains that why does it say that he never died? Because he taught his children, he taught Torah to his children and to his subsequent generations, and he was able to preserve his life. So here we are, some 3,500 years later, and we still speak about Yaakov Avinu as if we knew him. When I speak about it, I feel like I knew Yaakov Avinu. I know this man that was my grandfather, 3,500 years ago. Why? Because he was able to pass down the Torah. Donating, bringing a Sefer Torah into a synagogue is one thing. It's a special moment. But it's not just enough to bring a Sefer Torah into a synagogue. We have to be able to teach the Sefer. We have to be able to live the Sefer. At this moment, I need to have a special Hakarat Tov to Rav Hadar and Binyamin Hadar. There it is. Getting the Sefer Torah over here was a miracle. Mamash a miracle. It just so happened we were trying to arrange it with the rabbi that we got the Sefer Torah from and Israel for someone to bring it over. It turns out the person could not bring it over. So it just so happens that Binyamin was going to Eretz Israel for the summer, for a couple of weeks. And Rabbi Hadar says, Binyamin can bring him back. So, okay, great. Binyamin had no idea what he was doing. He had no information about him bringing him back until he actually received the Sefer Torah. But the rabbi tried to arrange with him at certain points, to bring the Sefer Torah. It turns out that he couldn't do it. They couldn't meet up for whatever reason. The bus was always moving. They were in different cities. They were in Matayel throughout the entire country, whatever it was. I'm speaking to the rabbi the day before Binyamin was supposed to come back. I haven't been able to reach him. Haven't been able to take him to Sefer Torah. Now what are we going to do? And now the pandemic's starting to get worse again. The flights are getting canceled again. I tell the problem to Rav Hadar. Rav Hadar says, wait, no problem. Give me a minute. He makes a couple phone calls. He arranges for the rabbi and the entire tour was it 3 buses? Yeah. 3 buses for them to meet at 6 o'clock in the morning at El Al Airport, at Ben Gurion Airport. Imagine a rabbi coming with a giant duffel bag, handing it over to some kid in the middle of an Israeli airport. How does that look? Benjamin sent me a picture of him holding the duffel bag and entering the bus at the very last moment. It was unbelievable. But the story doesn't end there. He gets to New York, and I found this out a couple weeks ago only. He gets to New York, and he's about to fly to Miami. TSA tells him, you have too many bags. You can't fly. So what do you mean? I have to take my stuff. So I can't leave the Sefer Torah, I can't leave my, so I don't know what I'm going to do. At the very moment, he sees a rabbi that he knows. Just happens to be in the airport at the same time as him. Everybody loves Binyamin. You all know Binyamin, everybody loves him. He runs up to the rabbi, Rabbi, please, I'm in this situation, I need to bring this home. Rabbi says, for you, I'll do anything. This is a rabbi who, he told me his name afterwards, and I know him personally actually. He ends up flying the Sefer Torah to Miami. They get to Miami, and most amazingly, I didn't think of it until this afternoon. I was writing, exactly what happened. But the first place the Sefer Torah went to after the airport was Temple Moses. Came straight here. Didn't stop at my house, didn't stop at Rav house, didn't stop at the coffee shop. It came to none other than Temple Moses. This is where he was. This is, there's certain places that I walk through. There's especially one place downstairs where I walk every Shabbat. And I see him. Whether it was preparing the meldados or preparing the papers that he always used to print out, or preparing the donation box, the shoe box that he would carry around with the donations. He would always stand there. So I walk towards that spot every Shabbat. And I go and give him a kiss. Papi, hello. How are you doing? Shabbat Shalom. And then I bolt upstairs because I'm usually running late. But I also have to give Hakarat Hatov to Rabbi Amselem for being here tonight. I have to give Hakarat Hatov to Rav Karo, who I can't even begin to tell you how incredible he has been to me over the last 20-something years that I've known him. And this is, I cannot thank him enough for everything he's done to put this all through together. He canceled a few trips just to be here tonight. So I thank you. I have to also publicly thank Ronen Cohen, who I don't think is here, but in Food Art, for he not only he provided the food for the 11th month mandala, the 12th month mandala, and he also provided food for tonight as well. So I really, I asked him, I called him last minute to prepare food for tonight. And I said, listen, I'm sorry I'm calling you last minute, but I don't know what to do. He says, listen, for your father, I'm going to do anything. Your father, I will do anything. Ronen Cohen is saying, for my father, you'll do anything, you'll do anything. So let me tell you a story. So, most of us know Ronen was the caterer here at Temple Moses for a while. And wherever my father and Ronen would meet, whether it was at a simcha, at a wedding, bar mitzvah, or even at a board meeting, my father would always go up to Ronen and tell him, listen, your food is amazing. I don't know if my father would eat his food, but he would always tell him, your food is amazing. You guys do such a great job. Thank you. I really appreciate you being here. And he said it with such sincerity. He also mentioned the Lava Shalom Ralph Maya, who would also say the same thing. But he said it, Ronen is telling me that he said it with such sincerity. Like, wow, what an unbelievable man. I really want to be like this man. Ronen telling me that he wants to be like my father. So I want to be like him. And when I heard what happened, I was devastated. And really, he told me this is the least I could do because I loved your father so much. And I've heard over the last year, I've heard Baruch Hashem many stories similar to Ronen's. Like when we told the pool guy that he had passed away, the pool guy broke down crying in my parents' backyard. Little stories like that, tell me and remind me, do your best to be as much as you can to be like him. He was such a sweet soul, and I think we try to get as much of him as we can. I have a lot of work to do, but I'm going to continue because Hashem trying to get there and to be as great as my father was and is, because my parents, my father, my mother, they taught me, and my sibling Isaac and Mimi, we learned incredible midot. We learned incredible ways how to behave life in the Torah, in the direction of Torah. And essentially, they did and are still doing what Yaakov Avinu did for their children and their subsequent generations. Forever, Yaakov Avinu is going to be spoken about as if he's still alive. B'ezrat Hashem, with the Sefer Torah, we're going to speak about my father as if he is still alive. He's still here. He's a pillar of the synagogue, a pillar of the community. B'ezrat Hashem will always realize that. Before I conclude, I have to give a special hakarat tov to my mother. Special hakarat tov. Gratefulness to my mother, who was always so positive. Her and Mimi and Isaac. Together, without you, this doesn't happen. We did this together. Thank you. Thank you to Philip, who would advise me throughout the way of collecting and being part of this, bringing the Sefer Torah here. Thank you to Jackie, Jackie always goes out of her way to help the family in any which way she can. Thank you to my wife, who allows me to spend her money in almost any which way I want. And of course, I thank all of you. I thank all of you for being here, especially Mary. Especially all of you for being here tonight. And I give a great big Modeh Ani to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Thank you, Hashem, for arranging this so perfectly that it all came together so beautifully, and we were all able to be here and share this in this great simcha.
Adon
Simona, Simona, Torah, Simona, Simona, Torah,
Everyone, here you go, baby, it's so beautiful, beautiful.